Hi all, I'm Anthony Wilson, the Communications Director for the City of San Angelo, and it is the third Tuesday of the month, and so that means we had a City Council meeting today, and it was a fast one. I mean, it was done in less than 50 minutes, so we're coming to you a little earlier than we normally do to sort of break down the things of importance, impact, and interest that happened during today's City Council meeting. And without a doubt, I think the thing that is going to interest and perhaps impact you the most is the fact that we are seeking some state grants for some sidewalk projects, and the City Council gave approval for city staff to begin the process of pursuing those state grants. So here to talk with us are two members of our engineering staff. We have Russell Pell, who is our engineering manager, and the assistant city engineer, Andy Vasilio. We appreciate you guys being with us.
Thanks for having us.
So Russell, let's start off with a couple of sidewalk projects that would be near neighborhood schools in our community. Tell us first about the proposed sidewalks along Ricks Drive leading up to Holloman Elementary School.
Right, so if you've been out to Ricks Drive, I'm sure you've, or Holloman Elementary School, there's currently an existing dirt trail path that leads up to that school on the north side of Ricks Drive. So what we're proposing to do with this grant is to actually come in there and replace that dirt sidewalk or path, whatever you want to call it, into an actual concrete sidewalk, and put in new ADA or handicap accessible ramps, some new crosswalks there in front of Holloman to Producers Park, and making that connection from Producers Park all the way over to McGill, which is a little over a mile of new sidewalk in that area.
Now, people may not realize, but you talk about a mile's worth of sidewalk, and that's really a very expensive infrastructure project.
Right. It's going to be very expensive. So we're looking at, our preliminary estimates are around $1.2 million for that entire sidewalk through there.
And this is part of a state program. So tell us a little bit about that program and how you're able to tap into these grant dollars via that program.
Right. So this program is really neat. It's actually called Safe Routes to Schools. What its target impact area is for, within 2 miles of, K through 8th type schools, either they're public or charter schools, things of that nature. They're really trying to make it safer for students that have to walk to school. That's their big target there. And so what's neat about this grant is it's actually a grant that'll cover 100% of the costs, and that includes design and construction costs. So what we've included with those proposals too is to actually do the engineering work with that as well. So that $1.2 million will cover the engineering work involved and the construction costs involved with that.
So again, I want to sort of emphasize this, both this project and the next school project we're going to talk about. It would be zero cost to the local taxpayers. All of these dollars are actually federal dollars that would be flowing through the state.
That's correct. It's 100% grant funded. No, it doesn't require any local match of any sort.
And then the other project that we're looking at doing is along Southwest Boulevard,
Correct.
Leading up to Lamar Elementary. Tell us more about that.
Right. So we're going to be putting in new sidewalk on either side of Southwest Boulevard from Twin Mountain to Dominion Ridge, which is just basically 1 block north of the railroad tracks. And what we'll be doing is, we'll be eliminating a need for a crossing guard at southwest and north of the railroad tracks, because having that sidewalk access on both sides, then that'll allow the students to come down to the school and come to that crossing guard nearest the school and cross the street there. What we'll be doing too is at the railroad crossing, we'll be adding some pedestrian elements, and what that means is right now there's mast arms that come whenever a train's crossing there that'll come down and blocks traffic through there. We'll also be having those similar mast arms, but much shorter for pedestrians, just to keep everybody at a safe distance away from the trains as they're passing through there. And then when they'll raise back up and let the pedestrian traffic go through there, just to make everything safer through there. So that project is, it's looking around like it'll cost around $250,000.
Not nearly as many or long as sidewalks as
Right,
along Ricks Drive.
Yeah, it's about a quarter of a mile basically. And too, what we'll be doing in there is, some of the new developments that have come in there, they had to, or they put in sidewalks. We'll actually be adjoining and, closing those gaps between those existing sidewalks and, just making it a continuous path.
So it'll be tying in, like you said, to existing sidewalks and making that more of a complete sidewalk system there in that Lamar Elementary neighborhood.
Right, just in that immediate area.
So we're talking about Holloman Elementary School and we're talking about Lamar Elementary School. How were those campuses chosen as part of this Safe Routes to School program?
Well, for the Ricks Drive project, Lucy Gonzalez, the council member representing that district, she actually, brought up the attention of the need in there. And so, there's already an existing path there. It was pretty cut and dry as to where it needed to go. So we'll just be improving that. As far as the Southwest project, there's been some recent development in that area and some new sidewalks that were added as well. And two, we're going to be rehabbing Southwest Boulevard with our capital improvement project. So we just saw this as another avenue to actually further develop that area.
And so your hope is you'll win these two grants and that this will actually start a little bit of a domino effect where you'll start addressing some other campuses bit by bit.
Correct. So, this, as far as we know, this grant will be coming up in the coming years, and we'll just, as we see those other projects come up, we'll try and address them one by one.
Well, and I can imagine that people in these two neighborhoods would be really excited about this. Do you have any timeline as to when they might actually see sidewalks on the ground around Holloman and Lamar Elementary Schools?
Right. So it's going to take a while to get those completed. It could take anywhere from 18 to 24 months to get, from now at the very conceptual phase all the way through construction. So it's going to take a little while, but we'll get it in there eventually.
Now, the other thing that we talked about today regarding sidewalks was a different state grant program that will help with sidewalk improvements along North Chadbourne Street. So, Andy, tell us a little bit about that.
Well, as of right now, Tony, we have we have a project from the Concho River to Beauregard, and that's Phase A of the Chadbourne Downtown project. So Phase B is taking it from Beauregard up north to 6th Street or to the Houston Heart. And so what it's going to do is it's going to be a street reconstruction project, but it also will have a streetscape component that's similar in nature to Phase A.
And tell us about that streetscape. So how will these sidewalks be improved?
Basically, we'll be going from right-of-way to right-of-way, improving the streets and the additional sidewalk that's already there in place. So we're going to be going concrete curb and gutter. We'll be going with concrete sidewalks and concrete streets.
So a lot of the sidewalks, I guess, will be removed and redone in a much smoother fashion, if you will.
That is correct, yes.
And so now, unlike the sidewalks around the schools, there will be a little bit of a local match required for this project. So tell us about that.
That is correct, Anthony. So for the street project, that is not part of the grant. It is only the streetscape component, and it's an 80-20 match. So therefore, we can submit and request 80% grant, and the city has to contribute the other 20% as a local match. So from a streetscape cost estimate, we're about $3 million estimated budget. So we can get up to about $2.4 million in grant for this streetscape improvements.
Yeah, and so there would, like I said, there would be a cost, but it would be fairly minimal given the scope and the cost of the entire project.
Exactly.
So what would the timeline on these funds be?
Well, this grant program, even though the pre-application is starting now, the grant funds won't be available till fiscal year 21-22. So by the time we go through the whole grant process, do the design, and get a bid and construct it, we're probably looking at a 4 to 5 year time frame.
And so why is it such a long time frame? Why are we now having to apply for grants that won't be available for another 2 to 3 years?
It's the setup of the grant program through TxDOT. So they have different categories for this grant. So they have the SRTS, Safe Routes to School, that Russell was talking about. Then they have also the TA set aside, the Transportation Alternative set aside. And for the small communities, they can go ahead and be eligible now. But for small urban, is what St. Angelo is classified as, they're taking the pre-applications now, but they're basically getting everybody in order, getting in prioritization, and then they won't be available till 21-22.
So today the City Council approved the process of beginning the application for these grants. And so we don't know for sure that we're going to get these. What is your confidence level for each of these grants that you're applying for?
I would say it's pretty high right now because you know, we have been successful with these grants in the past. We do have the capabilities of working with TxDOT and managing them the way that TxDOT and the federal government wants to manage. So, you know, I feel fairly confident that we're going to get these grants in the upcoming years.
And do you feel the same way about the North Chadbourne project, Andy?
I do, and I think the primary reason there is Phase A. We already have a relationship with TxDOT. They've already seen it. They've seen our work through there. And so I think there's some continuity that they would like to see as well.
So one of the reasons I want to talk about these particular projects today is it seems like any time the subject of sidewalks comes up, our citizens get very interested in that. And inevitably it raises the question of why we don't have a more sophisticated, continuous system of sidewalks throughout San Angelo. Why is that?
So right now we don't have an actual sidewalk ordinance. I know our planning department has been working on that for a number of years. And you know, they're still working on that now currently, and they are making some headway in that area. There's also been some pushback from the development group within San Angelo. They're the developers that build these subdivisions. You know, it does increase the costs of their subdivision and the individual lots. You know, but it's, you know, it seems to be more of the trend, and it seems to be going more in that direction, that we'll be seeing that more in the future.
Yeah. So I guess it really underscores the importance that if this is something that you're interested in, we will be having some more information about this at some point in the near future. Like Russell Pell, our city engineer, said, that our Planning and Development Services Department is working on a proposed sidewalk ordinance. And if that is something that you're in favor of, then you should do what you should always do anytime that there is an issue that you have a great interest in, and that is contact your elected representatives, your city council members, to let them know your thoughts about whatever the proposal is. And you can contact them very easily. All of their contact information is readily available on our website at cosatx.us/citycouncil. So now our next city council meeting is going to be not the first Tuesday of April, which it typically is, but the day before, on April 1st, because there is a conflict in the convention center where we hold the city council meetings on the first Tuesday of April. So tune back in April 1st. We'll break down exactly what happened during that city council meeting.